everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's March, baby. It's March. And we are now tackling hashtag career exploration 2025. And again, I'm so sad to announce that there was no any participant with our February edition, so now we are wearing the March edition. Yes, this is the March edition, and anybody who is going to view all these videos and summarize them or just share an insight with us in the comment section of the last video on Facebook will win themselves a pair of these earrings, a certificate of participation, and a feature in our monthly newsletter. So I'll forever be preaching this until somebody actually participates. Interest with Celumusa Dlamini. He'll take us through this topic. It's the first topic of March. As I said, March is hashtag career exploration 2025 for this year. So yes, as we wait for our Celumusa Dlamini to join, I have invited him. Yes, Celumusa, we see you. Yes, you either accept the invitation or request to join. Either way, we'll just be waiting for you here calmly. And yes, today we are using a Sweating Mobile. We are using the $50 limitless daily. Yes, daily MBs. It's just $50 and it's limitless. It throttles at 5 gig, and the throttling speed is 512 kbs per second, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's smooth. It's perfect. After the 5 gig, you really feel the throttle. It's there, but it's not that deep. It's not that deep. So yes, let's kindly wait for our Celumusa to join. Yes, while we wait, I'm just going to advertise the earrings so that you guys can see. And if you want to know more about my craft, head on to Beacon of Light Craft on every social media platform, and you will see what I make. It ranges from earrings, handbags, bracelets, necklaces, you name it. So yes, let's wait. Yes, we are kindly waiting. And this will be a recorded live. If you want to rewatch it, you can find it on Instagram, and I'll also post it on Facebook for Facebook watchers. You can just check it out on Facebook. While we wait for Celumusa to either... I see a request, but I'm just... Yes, I see the request. I've accepted it 1,000 times. I don't know what's... It happens. I've never had a smooth flow with Instagram Live ever since I started these sessions. I don't know what is wrong, really. It's never a smooth connection. It's never. Do you see the invite though? Can you accept the invite? Because this side I'm trying to accept your request and I'm not seeing you pop up. By now you should have popped up, but I don't know what is happening. Because by now you should have popped up. But we patiently wait for something to happen. Anything really. Anything. We will wait. And while we wait, let's just admire the earrings. The March edition.
Hi. Hi, Chandra. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but can you hear me now?
Yeah. I think the
I
audio is on
muted
now.
myself, but because I'm having problems with my video, it always happens, don't worry. I can't see you and I'm having problems with maneuvering my buttons here. So I had muted myself and I couldn't unmute myself. Hi, how are you, Celumusa?
I am okay. I'm okay, Chandra. How are you?
Oh, it's President, by the way.
All right. Sorry. Yeah, President. Yeah.
Shame. No, thank you. It's nice having you, Shanks, even though I can't see you, but I'm truly happy to have you on board. So I trust you're good. Welcome to our platform, Beacon of Light, where we just raise awareness to enlighten people. And today, as you know, we're talking about self-discovery and career interest. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us how you feel worthy to take us through this topic?
All right. Thank you. Thank you for having me on the platform. And to anyone else who will be watching the video later on, I will welcome you. So my name is Celumusa Dlamini. I'm from Eswatini, Kingdom of Swaziland. So that's where I was born and raised. And maybe just a little bit of background on my academic um, relevance and maybe my professional relevance to the topic we'll be discussing today. So I did my bachelor's in environmental health sciences at the University of Swaziland, which is now the University of Eswatini. And I did my BSc in environmental health sciences actually, with a specialization in environmental management. And then I spent a little bit of time as part of the Mandela Washington Fellowship which saw me going to the United States in 2017 to Silicon Valley specifically to study leadership and entrepreneurship at Skyline Business College. And then I spent a little bit of time again working in Washington, D.C., working for the Global Entrepreneurship Network as a social media intern as part of the development program of the Mandela Washington Fellowship. And then I came back to Eswatini, where even before going to the US, I already was running my IT company called Netstorm Technologies. And so thank you. And so what we do at Netstorm, because it's a company that is still running to this day, we do social media marketing, we do IT support services, we do website development and website hosting and business email hosting and a whole lot of other things in between, including graphic design and printing. And so after that, I then continued doing that business for a while. And when COVID came, actually we took quite a hit. So we kind of downscaled on that business, but then closed it down. But then we opened another business called Property Square, which is a business that actually is in the property market. That is, we help people to actually buy and sell property. We're a property marketing agency, to so to say, and we're now looking at actually expanding that into property development. We will be building our own properties and things like this. But then last year, which is 2024 September, I got an opportunity to be a part of a scholarship program. Some people might know it. It's very popular all over the world. It's called the Chevening Scholarship, which is a master's program that takes professionals from all over the world and connects them to universities in the United Kingdom and sends them actually to go and study for their master's degrees in the United Kingdom. So it's a very competitive, very popular scholarship. I believe that in my year, when I applied, there were over 102,000 applicants, and out of that, only about 1,300 something got the scholarship. So it is quite competitive. Usually the acceptance rate is around 2% or so. So that's what I'm doing now. So right now I'm based in the United Kingdom. I'm at Bournemouth University, where I'm doing my master's in innovation management and entrepreneurship. Otherwise, in between things, I also happen to be involved with a lot of high schools in Eswatini, either through our nonprofit organization called TIM Group, or through another nonprofit, which I believe is the one that connected us, which is actually called World Impact, which actually focuses on developing young leaders, which actually focuses on equipping and helping young people with career choices and things like this. So that is what I actually spend a lot of my time doing as well. And here in the UK, I have just started working with an organization called Say Yes, which is actually based in South Africa, but it's just recently opened an office in London. So we'll be working with young people and providing mentoring services to young people here. So yeah, I think that's the long and short of probably my relevance to this topic and to the subject matter. I hope I'm going to be able to bring something, that's going to be helpful to people who are going to be watching this video.
Love it. Love it. Perfect. Oh, I love how you took us step by step into your relevance to the topic. Amazing. Amazing indeed. Okay, Mr. Celumusa, could you please just cook us? Just cook us right now. We are yours. Take the stage. Just don't be afraid to cook us, and don't leave us rare. Don't leave us medium rare. Just leave us well cooked, please. The stage is yours.
All right. Thank you, Petsile. One of the things that I'd like us to actually cover and look at is identifying, because if you're going to be choosing a career path, it's one of those things that in our context, especially, I believe in Eswatini, people usually choose one career and that's what they go with for the rest of their lives, and actually even in other parts of the world. So I would imagine that it's a really important decision, and that you want to give it as much thought as possible. So one of the things that I want us to look at in relation to how do you do this is actually to identify your strengths and your interests. Because if you're going to be spending the rest of your life, let's say complete school at 18 years, you're at university maybe until 22, 23, and then you're beginning to go into the work world, you're joining a workforce, and if you're going to be doing the same thing from your mid 20s right up to your maybe late 60s or mid 60s, I mean, you really want to do something that you're going to enjoy, because it's a really long time. So I think that for that reason, then you want your career to be linked to things that you enjoy, to be linked to things that you are strong in, because it's much more easier to already develop on your strengths than to go and try and build new capacities and new capabilities. So I think that is just important, that you identify areas that you are actually, sorry about that. That was just a call coming in. Things that you're actually strong in. And so now, what you want to do is you want to also identify things that are of interest to you. Now, this is not to say, I think this is where we sometimes, I think, make mistakes, because if you think about it, if you're around 18 and you want to go to college or go to tertiary and you want to pick a course that is hopefully going to lead you to a career, the fact of the matter is you just do not have enough knowledge and experience about the world in most cases to be able to make a decision that is going to tie you down to one career path. So what you want to do is to actually explore first. You want to explore interests, you want to explore strengths, because sometimes you could be strong in a particular area, but it is just that you have not yet been exposed to your strengths in that area. Because, for instance, let us say you would really be good in navigation, maybe in either flying planes or even maybe captaining a ship, but you live in Eswatini, where first of all you've got no ocean, you've got no vessels, so how would you even know? So you want to actually expose yourself to things first. But that is not to say you are going to stop and not go into college or into university while you are still trying to get hold of a ship somewhere. I don't know where, but so you want to basically open yourself up to as many possibilities as possible, to as many experiences as possible. And one of the ways in which you can do this, I think it is unfortunate that maybe we do not have this culture in Eswatini, but I see it a lot in the West. I saw it in the US, I see it here in the UK. You really want to volunteer for a lot of programs so that you can learn about a lot of things. You might never know that you would actually love to fly a plane until you are in a plane. So you want to volunteer, but the beautiful thing now is that in terms of volunteering, there are opportunities where even if you are in Eswatini or if you are in whichever part of the world, you now have volunteering opportunities in other parts of the world that you can actually take advantage of. For instance, if I can make an example, if you are a young person and you are above the ages of 18, you can volunteer to go to the United States and maybe be a part of their summer camps. Yeah, help, because in the US, what happens in the summer is that kids, maybe high school students, actually go on camps, on these camps, whereby maybe they're in camp for maybe 1, 2, 3 weeks, and so they need volunteers to actually help, to be facilitators, to be teachers in those camps, to be, helping the kids to play games, just simple things that the typical 18-year-old Liswati student would be able to go and help other younger kids in the US to do. And so these are opportunities that exist. They pay for your flight, they pay for your accommodation while you are there, they pay for your food while you are there, and then they also pay you money on top of that. And after you are done with that camp thing, I think they also extend your visa so that you have like a month to now just go out and not work, just go out and see the US and hopefully spend that money, and just see the country apart from the time that you've already spent there. So these are things that are there. These same things exist for places like China, places like Taiwan. You can go there, Japan, and a whole lot of other countries. Especially, I think this is an opportunity for us as people of Eswatini, because we are coming from a country that I believe has actually done well in terms of literacy. We've done well in terms of understanding and communicating in the English language, and so we're able to work in a lot of different parts of the world where they want people who actually understand English. And now I just saw one recently whereby they actually allow you to go to a country and be a companion and just help someone who is not a native English speaker to speak in English. So basically you are just there so that the other person who has gone to that country has someone that they can talk to in English, and for them it's a way to learn the language. And for us as a Maswati, I believe any Swati in high school has a very decent command of the English language, and you tend to see this when you travel outside, when you listen to other people. So this is one advantage that we have. So now in terms of traveling and seeing things, you will see things in other countries, you will see opportunities, you will even get to know about new careers that probably do not even exist in our own country. So however, you have to put yourself out there. So this is one way in which you can identify your strengths and your interests, apart from the ones that you already know, because maybe someone knows that they already love music, someone knows that they love acting, they love art, they love whatever. But there are other strengths and there are other interests that have not yet been triggered inside of you, and you'll never know that you would actually love working in these spaces until, I believe, you put yourself out there. So I would really say look out for volunteering opportunities, and try to travel the world as much as you can, especially while you are young. And another thing you can do to actually explore your strengths is to actually join what is called fellowships. There are a lot of youth fellowships, especially if you are still below the ages of 35. The Mandela Washington is one such fellowship. It's called the Yali. There are lots of others. There's one called One Young World, where all you have to do is just apply online. Usually they will pay for your flight, they will pay for your accommodation, some will even pay for your visa application fees and all these things, and you get to go and live in another country. And the beautiful thing about these fellowships is that, for instance, let me make an example of the Mandela Washington Fellowship. When I was in Silicon Valley, there were 24 other young Africans from around different African countries. So in my group, I was living with people from Nigeria, I had people from the Congo, I had people from Sierra Leone, from Ethiopia, and from a whole lot of other different countries. And now when we all went together to Washington, D.C. for what was called the Presidential Summit, now there were 1,000 of us. So if you can imagine 1,000 young Africans from every single African state, imagine the experiences that you share, imagine the information and the knowledge that you share. So apply for these fellowships. A lot of people begin their applications, but they never usually really go through with them because they think that applying is tedious. But I think that there's a lot more to be gained, and there's absolutely nothing to be lost by just trying these fellowships. If you fail in one or two, certainly at some point in time you will get accepted into one, and you'll have the experience of your life. So this is just one way in which you can actually identify your strengths and interests. And then of course the strengths and interests that you already know that you have. One other way of doing that is to actually look at things that you enjoy, look at things that usually come naturally and come easy to you, while they may be difficult to other people. It could be art, it could be music, it could be maybe just speaking, and you have to then begin to, once you have identified those interests and strengths, you have to begin to now develop or try to build up on them, make yourself better, get more information. And again, we've got the internet now, and we've got even better, of course, artificial intelligence. So there are a lot of courses that you can take online that are free, so that you can actually develop and actually further yourself in those spaces. Because, and while you are still developing yourself, that is where you will then get to meet other people who are doing that. That is when you are going to learn from others who are also in the same spaces, and attend conferences if you can, attend events that have got to do with the things that you're interested in. If there's a music workshop and you're interested in music, go and attend that workshop. You're going to meet other music heads, and you're going to learn a lot of other new things that you didn't know, and you're going to get a lot of other opportunities, because these opportunities tend to be shared in such spaces, and that then puts you at a point and at an advantageous point to be able to then develop in that space. And maybe I also want to move on to looking at tools and things that you can use for assessing your personal discovery. Tools that you can use for assessment, so that you can be able to discover your strengths and to discover who you are. Because maybe that is one thing that is being used a lot in the West. Before you choose a career, you have to kind of like define who you are or discover who you are. And because as I was saying, that sometimes you are limited by the experiences and the knowledge that you have. So sometimes you need a tool that is going to kind of like point you in a certain direction, and then you can begin to explore your talents and your strengths and your skills and your interest in that particular direction. There's one tool that we usually use a lot at World Impact. It's called the Wheel of Life. The Wheel of Life. So if you can think of a circle, if you can just take a piece of paper and draw a circle, and then you kind of like divide this circle into equal parts in the formation of a pie or a pie chart, but equal parts, you just divide the circle into maybe 5 different pieces of a pie, and each piece, one piece is going to be for social, your social life. The second piece is going to be just your physical, body and stuff, and then the third one is your relationships or emotional life. The fourth one is financial life, and then the fifth one is your spiritual life or your spiritual well-being. So now this is called the Wheel of Life. So it basically divides your existence as a human being into 5 equal parts. So obviously you are a social being, you are a physical being, you live in a physical body. So you've got social health, you've got physical health. Physical health is very easy to understand, because that is what we usually, and now we're even talking of emotional and even mental health in other times. And then you have your emotional health, you have just to do with your relationships and things like this, family and stuff. And then you've got financial health, because obviously as human beings, a lot of the things that we do are actually fueled, and they will from time to time have to draw from our financial reserves. So you must have a plan, you must have a financial lifestyle about you. And then also you've got your spiritual health, which maybe at some point also involves your mental health and emotional health. So now this is you dividing your life into 5 different parts, into 5 equal parts. And what you want to do with this assessment tool is to say, from a scale of actually 1 to 10 per piece of the pie, where are you with your social health? Where are you with your social life? Give yourself a score to say, maybe if 0 is the lowest and 10 is the most optimum life I would want for my social well-being, where am I currently? And so you kind of like fill it in, and then you then go back and say, well, in order for me to be at the optimal level socially where I want to be, what are the things that I have to do beginning from today? What are the things that I have? If maybe I'm a 5 in terms of my physical health, what are the things that I have to do beginning from today that have to be applied to my life, so that I move to that 10? Whatever a 10 could look like for you. For someone, a 10 might be maybe losing maybe a certain amount of weight. For someone, a 10 might be maybe building muscle. For someone, a 10 might just be maintaining a healthy diet or healthy eating lifestyle. So whatever it is whatever the 10 looks like to you, but the question is, if I'm at 5 today, what do I have to do? And then these are the things that you then put down, and you make a plan for your life. And so there are other tools that you can use as well, apart from the wheel of life, whereby you assess where you stand in life. You can also use a vision board, which is what you use actually to set goals and things like this. And there are lots of other assessment tools, professional assessment tools. Some are free, some are paid for, but I would say just go for the free stuff, because you're just beginning, and once you begin to work for companies even pay for tests. There's another one, a Gallup test that you can do online for personal assessment and for personal discovery, to kind of like discover what kind of person you are, because probably you want to choose a career that kind of like aligns to your personality. But also at the same time, please understand that these are just tools to help guide you. They are not carved in stone. They are not really more like dictating to you how you should choose to live your life, or which career. So you cannot say, I would have loved to be a policeman, but it looks like I've got a character trait. You are not a tree. You see, you are a human being. You can always change. If you plant a tree in one place, there's nothing that the tree can do for itself to uproot it and plant itself in another place. But you are a human being. You are able to change, and you can always change the day that you begin to decide that you want to change your life. So these are just guides that you can use, but they are there, they are available online. You can check out the Wheel of Life. You can check out how to use a vision board. There's another one called the Ocean Test. You can also take that Ocean Test. It will kind of like tell you about your character trait and what character trait you have. And now I'll move on to setting career goals and aspirations. So again, usually the limit is the extent of your knowledge, is the extent of your experience, is the extent of your exposure. So once again, if you are unable to travel to other places in the world, if you are unable to actually meet other people out of the environment in which you're in, one of the easiest ways now to actually connect and see different realities as they exist in the world is to use the internet. If you follow podcasts, if you're interested, maybe say in aviation, you begin to follow aviation podcasts. If you're interested in sports, you begin to follow sports podcasts, and that is where online you meet a community of people who have got the same interest, and so that would count in terms of your experience, as if you now already have been in those places. It is quite interesting to me that before 2017, before I went to Silicon Valley, because I already had a company in the tech space, the way my knowledge of what was happening in Silicon Valley was, it was like I was living in Silicon Valley. And as God would have it, somehow I ended up going to Silicon Valley and having an opportunity to go inside some of the biggest companies in the tech world that you can think of, to go inside Facebook, to go inside Google, to go inside YouTube and work inside YouTube, to meet the founder of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, the guy who actually created Twitter, and not Elon Musk, because Elon Musk just bought it recently, but we met the guy who actually created Twitter. And so, however, because I've been reading books, I've been following podcasts, it was like I was already in Silicon Valley. I could speak the language of Silicon Valley. I could speak into what venture capital is. I knew the firms that provided venture capital and things like this. And even now, that knowledge and experience is very important. It's coming very handy right now while I'm doing my master's degree here, because some of the experiences I've had, the people that I'm in class with cannot even begin to imagine the kind of things that I've actually gone through, the kind of things that I've seen, the kind of knowledge that I have about some of these things. So using online and platforms and social media to actually connect to those communities if you cannot get there in person. And once you connect to those communities, those relationships might in the future open up the possibility of you being able to actually go there So that is what I can say about actually expanding your experience, expanding your experiences, so that when you begin to set these career goals and your aspirations, they are not just limited to what you know from your local environment. And now, setting these career goals, I think that the world that we're living in today is quickly changing, and it's constantly changing. It changes quickly and it changes constantly. So in my experience, I no longer, maybe for the most part, believe in a job, but I believe in kind of like a career within a certain industry. So I would not say to you, choose maybe just strictly to be a policeman, for instance, if you're interested in that. But I would say, look at law enforcement, and policing can be one of the things you can do within law enforcement. But once you go into law enforcement, you will see that it is very wide. There is a lot more you can do than just being a police officer. So this is how I usually advise people who want to actually set career goals nowadays. I say, do not look at a job, but look at a career in an industry that you love. If it's in tech, look at a career in tech, because in 5 to 10 years, the job that you have chosen might be irrelevant, or you might have outgrown that job in terms of your experience, in terms of what you want to do, in terms of what that job is able to offer to you. So that is just one thing I can maybe say as we are beginning you know, on this last part of our talks, that look at the industry and then choose an industry, and then in that industry you can pick a job that is going to be your entry point. Let me make an example. For instance, in Eswatini, for anyone who knows the University of Eswatini, I think there was even a time when the university was considering closing the humanities faculty, or not accepting new students into the humanities faculty, because people were saying, we've got enough teachers who are teaching the languages and things like this, and we do not have jobs for them in Eswatini, which was actually true. However, it is quite interesting now that you are seeing people who actually have studied those humanities and who have studied languages. They are now beginning to get jobs to work in Taiwan teaching English, and earning about 2 to 3 times more what they would have earned if they were in Eswatini. And so you can see that it is not a matter of the job itself, but it's a matter of the industry and your exposure. So it is my belief now that there is no career, there is no job that is actually useless, but it depends on where you're looking at. If you're looking at nursing, when I was at the University of Eswatini doing my environmental health science degree, we used to study with nurses, because that faculty, you've got faculty of health, which is the nursing students, and then you had us, environmental health students. And when we were in school, we knew that if you were a nurse, the minute you graduate, you had a job waiting for you. But a few years later down the line, that story has changed. Now you've got students who have graduated with their bachelors in nursing, and you find them working in supermarkets, packing, you know, groceries and things like this. However, at the same time, when Britain actually left the European Union during that thing called Brexit, what actually happened was that a lot of people who were coming from Europe to work as nurses in the UK could no longer be able to come and work, because now they required visas, whereas before they didn't require those work visas because they were part of the European Union. But when British left, it meant that now they were looking at Britain as a proper foreign country, and that opened up a lot of opportunities now for even African nurses to come and work in the UK. And as it turns out, I've been here in the UK for a couple of months now. They love African nurses, because if you look at the stress that African nurses go through in terms of the institutions under which they work, it means that their skills actually, for the most part, have to be top skills, because you are dealing with a lot. If you're thinking of a nurse working in Babana Government Hospital, imagine how many patients they see a day. Imagine the number of scenarios that they deal with in a day. So now if you're taking them and you're taking them to a different country where maybe the pressure is not that much as they would receive in a Swazi hospital, then their skills begin to show, because their experience is very deep. And so now you can actually get a job in the UK as a nurse and earn maybe maybe 3-4 times what you would ordinarily earn if you're in Eswatini. So you can see, and once you begin to come into the UK, you can see that even in nursing, there is nursing management, there is a lot, there is care management, there is a lot that is happening here, which maybe in Eswatini we know that if you're a nurse, you're just going to be a nurse, and maybe if you get a promotion, you're going to be a sister, and probably that's the highest you can go. But here there is a lot more that you can do with nursing. And so this is what I can say, that if you're setting your career goals, pick an industry and then make it wide. And then once you're in the industry, do not tie yourself down to one job. Allow yourself to grow and to evolve as a person and as a professional in that industry. And so as you are setting your career goals, pick an industry, see how you can get into that industry using that primary job that you can get, and then allow yourself to grow. And then one of the things that you now have to do when you are doing this is to consistently learn new things so that you can be aware of what is happening. If you need to upgrade your skills, you have to upgrade your skills. I think we are now past the time whereby you would go into a job and your degree that you did in high school, that you did in university, which allowed you to get that job, is the last academic qualification that you are going to have for the next 30-40 years. Imagine, it means that you stopped opening a book 30-40 years ago and you've just been doing the same thing. It is not right. It is not right. But we never look at it that way. We never consider it this way. So as you are getting into an industry, please continue to learn, continue to upgrade your skills, continue to you know, keep yourself abreast about what is happening, because we are now living in a world, as I said, that is changing quickly and that is changing constantly. And so for you to be always relevant, because what people and what employers are looking for are people who are relevant to the pressing needs of the day. You must be someone who's always ahead in knowledge. So let us accept it at this point, that when you are beginning to go into a career, you will continue to learn and to grow. We are past the time whereby you just go into a job and then you begin to rest on your laurels. Yeah, that's what I would love to share, I believe, today. And I hope that is going to be impactful, and I hope that's going to be helpful to someone out there.
Wow, amazing. No, I'm amazed. I learned a lot. And right now, I feel like I'm regretting not knowing these things. I feel like I'm too old for this now, but I'm never old. I heard you talking about something here that it also accepts people that are under 35. So I'm like, oh, I still have a chance, a good life. I still have a chance.
Yeah.
I have a few questions though. I don't know,
Yes.
in the audience, if anybody has a question, can you start typing it in right now? Let me start with mine. Okay. A question may arise that, what if I discover what I'm truly passionate about later in life? Maybe I'm already doing in nursing and I'm depressed in here. I know what I want now, but I'm just afraid to take this leap of faith, because you know society says, okay, you're too old for this, you can't be changing careers, you're too old for this, you can't be doing this and this and this and that. So what would you advise that person? That's the first one. I don't know, should I ask every question or one by one?
Maybe let's take them one by one, just so that I can. I think you have to look at it this way. You might think that maybe time has passed you by at some point in time, and you can't change careers. But for instance, if for instance, in order for you to change your career, you now have to go for another training, maybe for 2 to 3 years. You have to think about it this way. If you are 30 years at that point in time, and you feel you are too old, to be sure, in 4 years' time, you will be 34. But the difference is, if you decide to go for retraining, in 4 years' time, you'll be 34 with a new degree and with a new possibility. But if you do not, in 4 years' time, you will be 34 without a new degree, and you'll still have no possibility of being able to change a career. So, I mean, I think the choice kind of like makes itself in this case, because another thing, I think that when we are thinking about changing careers, we think that in the new career, the experience and the knowledge from the old, the reason why we are actually afraid to change is because we feel like we are throwing away the years, you know, that we have spent in the old career. And I've changed, I've done a lot of things in my life, and I've always found that the experiences from the previous life that I've lived always will be valuable in the new life. So actually you are doing yourself an advantage by adding something new, and do not think that the old experiences are going to be lost. They are actually going to come in handy, and you are going to be better at the new thing because of the old experiences.
True, true. I feel you. I feel you. So, in short, are we saying if I'm above 40 and I'm just discovering myself, it's over for me?
No, it's not. Actually, if let's say you're 40, for instance, let's say you're 40 and you decide to go for another degree, 3 4 years, and at 44 and retirement is maybe at 60. And another thing, I think another problem that you have, we're always thinking about retirement. But if you really have a good set of skills that is really valuable, even when you retire, you can continue to consult. Let me give you an example. I've got a friend. He's a doctor. So my friend is a doctor. And his mother actually was a manager in one of the top financial institutions in the country. And when she retired, she completed her PhD when she retired from work. Actually, she had already retired because I just saw her completing a PhD, and I was like, wow, your mom's just completed a PhD. I mean, isn't she near retirement? And the guy said, oh, no, by the way, she's already retired. And so why would you do a PhD when you're already retired? That's an interesting question. But it's a strategic move. Obviously, she's now moving into consulting. She's going to move into consulting because all the years that she has actually spent in this industry, if she gets this PhD, she doesn't even need the PhD. She's just using the PhD as leverage so that she can build credibility. And so life only stops when we die. It doesn't stop when we retire. So that is how we have to think about it. Yeah.
True, I love it. Am I audible? Oh, yeah, I'm audible.
Yeah, you are audible, but it's a bit low now. I don't know what has happened.
Okay, what about now? Am I audible now?
Yeah, but still a bit low, but I can hear you. Yeah, we can move ahead.
Okay, sorry. Okay, I think I love that. I love I loved the point you made by saying, don't take it as if you are losing your years. Just take it as if you are carrying these years forward into another field. Let's just put it like that. And also the part of consultation, I love it because I can relate with my mother too. My mother is also retired, but she's consulting. She's really good at this jolly phonics thing. She was a teacher and she was really good at this phonics thing. Now every school is calling her to come and actually teach them this jolly phonics thing. So I'm like, yeah, man. It's yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you. And okay, another question. Somebody may say, I'm truly in love with art. I love art. I'm into art. I'm really good at art. But art doesn't pay in my country. In fact, people from my country, they just don't understand art. So how do I maneuver around that? That's a question. Asking for a friend.
Yeah. Okay. I think again that has to do with the level of your exposure and the level of your knowledge about the space in which you're working, which is why I was saying there is no job right now that is useless. The same art that, for instance, let us say you are making maybe handmade jewelry or something like this. If you try to sell that, for instance, inside Eswatini, to the Eswatini market, where we know that our grandmothers do these things and we can buy them for a few bucks, on the roadside. The problem is not the art. The problem is your selection of the market. But if you go to the West with the same thing, well, first of all, they are not looking at the fact that these are just earrings or these are just necklaces. But first of all, they are appreciating of the fact that these are handmade. They are not machine made. And so for them, for that market, that is value, because they know that there is no other earring that I'm going to get that is exactly like this one, because there's something different that goes into the creation. But you need someone who appreciates that and who values that. Now, I don't value that because of the culture from which I come from. So you have to get a market for that. For instance, I've been seeing how African art is selling for a lot more in the UK. And then another thing is the issue of currencies. For instance, if you're selling something for maybe 50 emalangeni in Eswatini, the same thing you can come and sell for 20 pounds in the UK, but now 20 pounds is almost 500 in Malangeni, and yet in Eswatini it was only 50. So you can 10x your income just by selling to the right market, just by virtue of the differences in exchange rates. So again, you have to do what? You have to look at the market that you're dealing with, expand your knowledge base. If for in the issue of art, look at all the people who are exporting art in Eswatini. Most of them are not indigenous Emaswati, but they are either Europeans or Americans. And they are taking Swazi art made by Swazi women for most of the time and taking it to the US and making 10x what they could have made in Eswatini. So they understand, but why do they do that? It's because they understand those cultures and those markets. But because of the internet, we now also have access to the same cultures, to the same markets, to the same people, and there is nothing that is stopping us from taking our art there. Our music, our hand creations, whatever it is, we can take it to the world, and the world would appreciate it and pay us what we're worth.
True, true. Love it. No, love it. It's all about exposure. So in short, it's all about exposure, just like you said. You also mentioned that this is my third and last question, but I'm just going to connect these things. You also mentioned that exposure is important. That's what you said. Such that you should do this what you called the volunteering thing. Okay, let's take this example. Mostly in Eswatini, after 35, there's this 9-month period in between before varsity, right? So I think most students can use that opportunity to go into these various organizations or establishments or institutions just to have the feel of that. But then one student may say, I don't have the money, I can't be moving up and down, commuting every day to this workplace because I don't have the money. How would you advise somebody with that question or problem?
So it would depend. If you want to do something locally, and maybe the organization at which you want to volunteer is at a certain distance. Sometimes if you approach them and you say, this is what I would like to do, but I would like you guys to actually support me with this much money just so that I'm able to actually get here and go back home, most organizations will actually say yes, because most of them actually do have some kind of budget that they can manipulate in order to actually cover you. But if you are looking at the international things, those are usually covered, from flights to accommodation to everything. They will cover you for everything, because at least internationally, and then they also give you a stipend on top of that. And it will also add a lot more to your CV, because imagine going to university and you already have a CV that says you have worked for 3 months in the US. Who else has done that? I mean, so already it sets you apart, and your thinking and your exposure already makes you to think in a very, very, very different way, because you have seen things that other people have not seen.
Wow. No, I love it. I feel cooked. I don't know about the audience, but then nobody has asked any questions. Yeah, no questions. I think they're also cooked, or maybe they will ask when the live is saved. But then Celumusa is always here for us. So yeah, I don't know any closing words from me. I'm like, wow, Celumusa, like seriously, my book is full. Wow. I mean, wow. Thank you. Any last words? Any words of wisdom, advice for Rotina? Anything?
Yeah, man. It would be just to encourage, especially young people and anyone else, actually, no matter how young or how old, to take your personal development as a serious project, to take your continuous development as a serious project, to not just let it go by the wayside. And also is for you to continue to network and to talk to people, especially those who are already in some of these spaces that we're talking about. The guys who are overseas, the guys who are working there, the guys who are studying there, please do talk to them. Some of them might not respond to you, but all you need is just one person to respond to you, one person to give you a link, and that is going to introduce you to a whole new community, and from that community you need one more person to give you a link, and that is how you just continue to grow and to grow. What I have noticed is that in some of these business events that I used to attend a lot in Eswatini, some of these empowerment sessions that used to be organized either by the American Embassy, by EU, by the British High Commission, the faces that would be there would be the same faces. It would always be the same faces. It's the same people. And now these are the people 4, 5, 6 years later, who most of them are now overseas, who most of them now frequently travel overseas. So please follow these people on social media. Some of them share opportunities. Follow them. Click on those links, and please take the time to read those applications through, to fill in those applications. They are very tedious. It might take you 3, 4 days to fill in an application for a volunteering job, but please do it. Just do it, because if you complete it, chances are you have already put yourself in a better position, because a lot of people will start these things and get excited, but they never follow through. So just by completing it, you're already putting yourself up for success.
True. No, love it. I think I feel you. I feel you. And I loved it when you said, just that one opportunity could change
one response.
True. So I feel like, no, thank you, Celumusa. We truly appreciate you. I've learned a lot myself. I didn't know any. In fact, I just knew 10% of the stuff we talked about today. 90% I was like, what is he talking about? There's something like that. Imagine. And I've completed my high school in like 2013. I didn't know. If I knew, maybe I wouldn't be here. But that I'm not regretting anything. I'm just happy with it. But I can still do something.
Yeah, absolutely.
So no, thank you, Celumusa. Anybody who wants to follow up, I don't know, can they reach you, or how can somebody reach you, or anything like that?
They can look for me on Facebook, Celumusa Dlamini on Facebook, or they can follow me on Instagram or inbox me or anything. Yeah. So yeah, I'm on social media, on LinkedIn as well. I'm Celumusa Dlamini. Yeah.
He's opened his arms. I mean, for me, I'm like, poof, I'm not even well cooked. I'm almost burnt right now. I'm like, wow, but in a good way. So no, thank you, Celumusa. Have yourself a blessed and good night from us, Beacon of Light Craft, Eswatini Mobile today, limitless E50. You're just your E50 box. You have limitless MBs. They throttle at 5 gig, and the throttle speed is like 500 kb per second, so you don't feel it at all. So from us and Celumusa Dlamini, bye-bye and good night.
Bye everyone. Have a wonderful night. Thank you.
Thank you.